Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. I am so excited for today's video because we are talking about some of my absolute favorite piercings to do and perform, and also some piercings that I think don't get enough good information or good attention online or anywhere, and that is genital piercings. So to start, what are genital piercings? As the name implies, they are body piercings done through the genitalia. Now, most folks are familiar with a couple really popular genital piercings. For vulvas, there are a lot of folks who are aware of VCH or vertical clitoral hood piercings. Lots of folks just call that a clit hood piercing, or some people even call it a clit piercing, even though that's not technically accurate. And PA or Prince Albert piercings, and ladders, or a series of frenum piercings when it comes to penile piercings. Those are the piercings that I would say the majority of people have at least heard of once or twice or are aware exists. But there are a lot more piercings that we can do for genitals. For vulvas, they can also wear triangles and labias and cristinas. And for penile genital piercings, they can also wear amphilangs, epidravias, haffadas, geishas. There's lots of other placements. Now, we're not going to break down all the different placements in this video. I do some of that over on my blog, and if you want me to make a video like that, let me know down in the comments. But we're going to approach some of the really common, frequently asked questions, let's say, about general genital piercing info. So to start, the most commonly asked question that I get is, why do people do this? Why do they get these piercings done? Why would someone do that? And the answer is honestly pretty complex and unique to each individual person getting it done. I would say the largest reason that people get genital piercings is going to be for function. Yes, as you might imagine, if we are putting a piercing through your genitals, it is functional. Now, there is a little bit of an urban legend and a myth that circulates online that genital piercings are these like incredibly magical, like make sex amazing, perfect, wonderful every time piercings. And it's not always the most true. So genital piercings are just like any other sex toy or additive you bring into the bedroom. Some people are going to absolutely love it. For some people, it is going to be that magical, amazing, sex is perfect every time, end all be all experience. But for just as many people who have that experience with genital piercings, you're gonna have people who absolutely hate them, who cannot stand how they feel. They're painful, they're uncomfortable, they don't like them. And this goes for both the wearer and the partner. You might get a genital piercing and turns out you do not like how it feels. You may get a genital piercing and absolutely love it. It may be the best thing that ever happened to you, and your partner may not like how it feels. So just like anything else, your mileage may vary. You want to make sure that you are getting something that works with your body, the sensations you like to experience and what you're looking for. And it also does all of that for your partner's body. And that's something really important to understand when you get into getting genital piercings. I do talk about this on my blog. I have a lot of blog posts about genital piercings actually, so I'm going to link them all in the comments below for further reading about each of these topics. And when we talk about function, I really feel like we do need to take the time to break it down into two separate categories. The first category is sensation. This is what most folks think of when they think of the function of a genital piercing. And there are many genital piercings that give direct physical sensation during sex, during solo sex, and they're great and they're wonderful and they work. But there are also plenty of genital piercings that still function without providing direct sensation. So a really good example of this is the vulva piercing, the VCH, the vertical clitoral hood piercing. For quite a few clients, this piercing provides direct clitoral stimulation. It's great, 10 out of 10. For just as many clients, however, this piercing just doesn't provide direct stimulation, whether it's because of their anatomy, because of the sensations their body prefers, whatever the case may be, the piercing just doesn't really feel like anything. However, because of the piercing's location and the way it works, it does mean that that person's partner will always find what they're looking for every single time. It's like an air traffic controller going, hey, hi, hello, it's right here. And for a lot of folks, they would argue that that function is more important than any stimulation. And there are lots of piercings like that provide a function outside of just stimulation. And that kind of blurs into my second reason why a lot of people get these done, and that is a body confidence and your relationship with your body. A lot of folks really struggle with insecurities about their body, but especially about their genitals. We have a culture that shames us about everything, including our most intimate parts. And a lot of people can never completely relax and enjoy the experiences they're having by themselves or with another person because they're so in their own head, feeling insecure about how their body looks, sounds, or feels. Getting a body piercing can give you something to be excited about those parts of your body, and can help people feel so comfortable and so confident and so at home that they can finally kind of turn off those negative thoughts and experience what's in front of them 100% of the way. And I don't know about you, but for the clients whom that has done that for, they would definitely classify that as functional. People also get piercings for gender affirmation. For trans and non-binary clients, especially those who are not interested in bottom surgery or for whom bottom surgery may not be an option, genital piercings can be a really great way of helping with dysphoria and making your genitals feel like they fit your body more and helping you build a healthier relationship for them. Now, I plan on doing some in-depth videos about trans and non-binary experiences with genital piercings. If you want me to do those next, let me know in the comments. But what a lot of folks don't know, and I think I want to do a whole video about this, is that genital piercings can be really gender affirming for cisgendered people as well. I see a large amount of cisgendered male clients who are getting Prince Albert piercings who have been circumcised and as adults are really unhappy with the fact that they've been circumcised, whether they simply don't like how things look, they don't like how things feel, they've dealt with side effects from circumcision like nerve damage and sensation loss, and these piercings can be a way to help them heal and recover from the trauma of circumcision and also feel at home in their body and in their gender. And in that way, these piercings are gender affirming for the men who get and wear them. Another really large reason why people end up getting genital piercings is as a way of healing and reclaiming their body after trauma, especially sexual assault. For a lot of clients, especially those who have experienced sexual assault, your body can become haunted by those experiences, and it feels like those parts of your body belong to your abuser or the abuse that happens, and it can be very hard to view them as your own and to experience uninhibited pleasure and new experiences with new people after that type of trauma. Getting a body piercing can be a really powerful way of making a physical statement that says, I am taking this piece of my body back, this belongs to me, I'm staking my claim, I'm taking this back as mine. And the experience of getting a body piercing with a trauma-informed body piercer involves a really strong focus on consent, client comfort, and vulnerability. And this creates a new experience that clients can think about and feel when they look at those parts of their body and can kind of erase and write over those experiences of trauma. Now, obviously, a single body piercing is not a fix-all, and if you have been a victim of sexual assault, I strongly encourage you to seek out mental health care professionals who are skilled or specialized in this area to work with, but body piercings can absolutely be a really major part of the healing process for many. And segueing off of that, another body reclamation reason why people will get piercings is a lot of times after pregnancy or after parenthood. Pregnancy, your body does not feel like yours. It feels like it is devoted to your baby, to the child that you are building, and the first many years afterwards can feel that way too. And a lot of times moms and parents can feel like motherhood and becoming a parent has replaced the identity of who they were before. And getting a piercing can be a really great way for them to get back in touch with that identity and say, hey, my body was my baby's for a while, but now I'm taking steps to make it mine again. In the same vein, at the end of parenthood, well, not necessarily the end of parenthood, but once children are old enough to be moved out of the house and older parents now have the home to themselves, they're now starting a life where they're not caretaking for a child 24/7. Sometimes things have gotten a little stagnant and a little boring over the years. Sometimes it's hard to accept the reality that you're no longer a 24/7 parent with a child living in your house. And a body piercing can be a really great way to commemorate that transitional period of your time and also just kind of feel sexy and fun and you again. And as someone who does a large amount of genital piercings and has the statistics to look at this, when I ran my numbers, the largest majority of clients who were getting genital piercings from me were actually over their 40s by just over 40%. And that's incredible. I think a lot of people get this a picture in their mind of like freshly 18 and 19-year-olds who are like, woo, I'm old enough to get piercings. I'm gonna go get all my stuff pierced, and like, especially in relation to like younger folks doing sex work. And that's just not, I mean, I do have clients who do that, but that's not the majority of my clientele for these piercings. The majority of my clientele are older. They're in their 40s, 50s, even 60s and 70s. They've been thinking about this for an incredibly long time and known that this is something they were interested in for a while. And they're at a point in their life where they can feel they can finally fully explore these things. And I think that's not what a lot of people think of when they think of genital piercings. And again, I have plenty of young folks who get them, and I'm here for it. I was that person who ran out freshly 18 and got my first genital piercing, so I fit that stereotype, but it's not the majority of the clients getting this. I think that's important to note, because when you think of genital piercings, a lot of people are not picturing mothers and fathers and parents and businessmen in their suits coming in after their 9 to 5, but that's the majority of who I'm piercing. Now, the next biggest question people always have when we talk about genital piercings is, doesn't that hurt? And the answer is yes, it does hurt. But the answer is also, it hurts less than you would imagine. So for most of my clients, especially those with vulvas getting these piercings, one of the first things I'll ask them is if they've ever had a Brazilian wax or been waxed in that area. And the good news is, if you can get waxed, you can get a genital piercing. I would say that a genital piercing, virtually all of them, are very comparable to one intense, kind of shitty wax pull. Not gonna lie, I've had waxing experiences way worse than any genital piercing. Now, most of my clients who are getting penile genital piercings don't have as much experience with waxing, but statistically, the vast majority of them have nipple piercings, and most of them say that that process of getting their genitals done was much easier than the nipple piercings that they had experienced. And when we think about pain, pain is really subjective. Some people will find that these are much more painful. Some people will find them pretty bearable. But what I like to think about is the amount of pretty shitty pain that we experience as human beings on a daily basis. I have definitely stubbed my toe worse than any body piercing you've ever gotten. You ever stub your toe and have your nail crack? I would get literally any of my piercings over again before dealing with that. Hitting your elbow or your head really good. A trip to the dentist. And if you ever had any major surgeries or any major medical procedures, if you've ever broken a bone, you have done something significantly more painful than getting a genital piercing. So yes, it is going to be painful. Yes, you should be prepared for that discomfort, but far and away, I get waxed every 4 weeks, and honestly, that's worse than any of the many genital piercings I've had in my life. It's not that bad. As an aside, it's not that bad when you're seeing an experienced piercer with good tools and good technique and good supplies, but if you are going to see whatever piercer out of someone's basement with whatever tools and jewelry, your experience may not be so easy and comfortable. And then the last big question that I always get when we talk about genital piercings is, how does that work? And when people are asking me this, they're usually asking it in 2 different contexts. One, how does a piercing work for the wearer? And different piercings do different things. Some piercings, like VCH piercings, provide direct stimulation to an area that's sensitive. So a vertical clitoral hood, the bottom bead can rest against the clitoris and provide sensation. Another example of direct sensation is any penile genital piercing that's passing through the urethra. Prince Alberts are the most common, but you can also do epidravias and ampulangs, and these can provide urethral stimulation, which can feel very, very good for the wearer. Other piercings provide more stimulation for the partner. For example, outer labia piercings on folks with vulvas can create unique sensation for their partner if they have a penis, or their partner if they have a vulva, depending on what they're doing. And for penile clients, things like epidravias and ampulangs can create sensations for their partners. And PAs, especially when people wear curved barbells with larger front beads, can provide a lot of prostate stimulation for their partner. Now the other, how does it work, comes specifically about intercourse and about partnered sex. And that gets into how does it work in or with someone else, especially because a lot of genital piercings are done at a larger gauge to be stable and do tend to wear larger jewelry. A lot of folks look at that and go, how does it fit How does it work? Won't that break a condom? And the answer is, well, first of all, it's not going to break a condom. Now, there's been no specific studies, but condoms are incredibly stretchy and incredibly resilient, and a body piercing in the scale of a condom that you can fit over your whole forearm and elbow, not going to cause any issues. Now, certain combinations of jewelry and certain styles with certain use, you may find break things more often, so experiment. Try different condoms, or if you want to wear a certain piece of jewelry that's a showpiece, but that's not super functional for safe sex, maybe swap it out beforehand. As far as how it's going to work with a partner, in the grand scheme of what your body can handle and fit, body piercings, usually not enough to make a difference. But it is worth noting that some people find body piercings to be incredibly uncomfortable. There are a lot of clients who give feedback that things just don't work out with certain partners because their jewelry is just uncomfortable or painful for them. And that is a fair concern to have when you're looking at or thinking about a genital piercing. Not every partner that you're with is going to enjoy the sensation of your piercing. And you either need to have a piercing that's stable and healed enough for you to be able to remove for interactions with that partner, or you need to find a partner who's going to be comfortable with your piercings. To wrap things up, I'd just like to make a brief note on terminology. I see, unfortunately, a lot of piercers refer to genital piercings as male and female genital piercings, and that language is really limiting and fairly transphobic. I always strongly suggest everyone swap to the language of penile and vulva piercings. It gives us the anatomy that we're working with. It allows us to have much more clear, concise communication about what we're talking about when we're talking about these piercings, where they go, what anatomy they're on, and also there's just no need to gender piercings, even genital piercings, because as we well know, gender is a spectrum and it comes in all shapes and sizes and forms, and there's no reason to leave out our transgender and intersex clients. So to everyone at home, I really encourage you to work on using more inclusive language when you talk about these piercings. I really hope this video is helpful for you, and I'm really excited to talk more about genital piercings on this page because I think they're really awesome. I think they're some of the most rewarding and empowering work that we as piercers get to do, and out of all of the piercings that I offer, the ones that really touch my heartstrings the most are these piercings. There's something about getting an email or a message or a phone call from a client a couple months later and being told, "You saved my marriage," or "I had my first orgasm," or "I can look in the mirror and not be afraid of those parts of my body," or "I don't think of my abuser every time anymore." That I want to cry even just thinking about some of the interactions that I've gotten to have with clients and how powerful these piercings are for them. So if you like this video, if you want to hear me talk a whole heck of a lot more about genital piercings, please hit like, please subscribe, and if you have content or topics about genital piercings that you want to see me touch on, specific piercings you want to see me review, risks you want to see me discuss, all of that stuff, leave them down in the comments below. I'm so excited to start talking about these here, and have a great day. Hopefully we sit down and chat more soon.